What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here. Special edition, as we've done the last 2, 3, 4 months. I've got Ant-Man with me, by the way.
Yeah.
What's up, Ant?
How are you?
Good. This is a special edition because it is live. We're recording this live, and as I'm sitting here, it is June the 21st, 2024. This episode will release like normal on Monday, but the reason we're doing it, partly the reason we're doing it, is because it is a big Yee Apparel summer launch. And so thank you guys for joining me live, and then thank you guys for joining me in the future as you listen to this as a normal podcast. I'm going to answer your questions. I have a bunch of them queued up here that you've already sent me. And to ask me a question, email me at podcast@grangersmith.com. Podcast@grangersmith.com is the email. You could do that now if you're listening. Even if you're listening live, you could do that now, or you could just comment. If you're listening not live, then just email me, and I go through these like we're just sitting in the cab of a truck, and you and I are just having a conversation or around a campfire. I don't always have the right answers, but I'm going to try to talk about this like we're friends. And so, hey, Lori, what's up from Ontario, Canada? Thanks for listening. Donita says, good morning, Granger and Ant-Man, watching from Western Arkansas. God bless you guys and your families, and you'll have an amazing day. You too, Donita. Wisconsin Farmer says, morning, Granger, yee. And I'm happy to see all of y'all on here. Hey, I've got my brothers, Tyler and Parker, coming live from the Yee farm right now. This is the Yee Apparel summer launch day. You guys just launched, 23 minutes ago. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. We're busy here in the warehouse, getting orders shipped out. We're excited. We've been working on this stuff for a long time, so it's fun to see people's reactions, and it's fun to put it in boxes and send it out.
Yeah, it really is, man. I mean, I'll be honest, Tyler, I think you think the same thing, but this might sound a little cheesy, but I got in bed last night and I was like, ooh, got a little nervous. I was like, I'm excited for tomorrow. And I don't think I felt that little scared, because I'm just excited that people are going to see what I think is one of the best apparel launches that we've done in the last decade. Is that too much? Am I overstating that, Tyler?
You're not overstating it. We're more in the trenches over here than you are, but you did text me and Parker and said, this is my favorite, or the products are amazing. And you've never texted us that before the other day. So curious to hear your thoughts on why.
Well, first of all, I always want to show my gratitude, either online or offline. I just want to show my gratitude to you guys, because all three of us as brothers work for and with, and we are Yee. And at the same time, we all are in very different lanes. And so my lane is really the face, the outward facing image of the company, doing, After Midnight and the podcast and getting out and speaking, and of course the music and the Smiths. And you guys are, more so in the designs and in the inner workings of how this stuff gets out. And Tyler, you're the guy that's looking to see what the world wants to wear. And both of you guys and me combined are all always aware of what this image is, which is faith, freedom, and the outdoors, which is what Yee stands for. And so it's a battle, really, to maintain faith, freedom, in the outdoors in 2024, especially in the month of June, when we're coming up against a lot of battles that the world wants to fight. And Parker, you said something as we did a live at Yee Apparel a couple days ago. You said something that really affected me, and I hope that you could repeat it now. But you said remember what you said when we ended the podcast? Was that yesterday? Remember what you said?
Yeah.
Say it again for my listeners.
I said the summer launch is releasing. We're super excited about it, but if money's tight right now, then we totally understand. Tyler and I keep in contact with a lot of our customers in Yee Nation. We have a pulse on things. I know people are out there struggling right now. It's not easy. It's an election year. There's a lot going on. So if money's tight, then don't even think twice about it. You just don't buy anything. Take care of you and your family, and just enjoy Yee through our other outlets that we have. Enjoy the podcast, enjoy our socials.
And man, I looked at you when we cut the camera at Yee Apparel's podcast. I looked at you and I was like, man, who says that as an apparel company CEO, who leaves everybody with the thought, hey, we're so excited about this launch, but if you don't have the money right now and money's tight, take care of your family. We understand. It's like, wow, it's amazing. And there's so much freedom in us to be able to say that out loud, because there's a pressure where we need to we have to do this. We got to pay the bills. We got to make sure that this launch performs well. And instead we let it go and we go, hey, we understand if money's tight, don't buy a single thing. Take care of your family. That's horrible advertising from a marketing standpoint, but I think it's just really good honesty.
Yeah, and we do launches every month. And so like if you're buying from us every single month, like that's a lot of money. And so I totally get it. And you only need a shirt every so often, but hopefully whenever you need a new shirt or a new hat, you'll get one from us. And we try to make it the best possible quality we can with the coolest designs with the top designers, and hopefully it'll last you a long time. And then when it wears out, we'll be around whenever you need another one.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, the quality on a lot of these t-shirts and that jersey Tyler's wearing, these hats, the quality is just a step up from what we're doing last year and the year before. Yeah, super excited. I know you guys are busy, so I'm going to let you go. 28 minutes now into the Yee Apparel summer launch. Go to yee.com for everything. If you're listening live, I would go there quickly because a lot of stuff, the popular things tend to sell out quickly. And if you're listening later, then there's probably enough to get you by. So yee.com is where you need to go. Oh, Tyler's holding up this is a last minute edition, didn't it?
We didn't think it was going to come in time, but we got our bandanas in literally the day before the launch. So yeah, that's a fun little addition. We've never done bandanas before.
Yeah, they're super soft. I felt them yesterday. That's cool. All right, guys, I'll let you go. We're going to get to some questions here. Appreciate you. Love you.
See you guys.
See ya.
Be safe. Get some rest. All right, we're going to answer some questions. Ant, you with me still?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's
How's
our
it going?
time? We're sitting at 11:50 since we started. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
All right, this question is going to come from Tyler and not my brother. It says, hey, Granger, my wife, 26, and I, 27, right now are considering IVF. We have been trying for almost a year to conceive and have recently found out that IUI or IVF may be our only option due to some medical issues. We attend an SBC church and regularly serve in the worship ministry. I am worried that we might be pushed out of our church where we have grown deep relationships with the pastor and other parishioners, given the Southern Baptist Convention's recent vote to oppose IVF. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, given your experience with IVF and your connection to the SBC. God bless, Tyler, Arkansas. Hey, Tyler, thanks for the question, man. It's a great one, and this is a fresh wound that the Band-Aid has just come off of with the SBC as they have voted. It was just as I'm reading this, I think it's only 2 weeks ago that the Southern Baptist Convention voted against the approval or the endorsement of IVF. And IVF, in vitro fertilization, comes really with two camps, and this is the argument at the SBC. There's two camps of opposition of IVF. One is the people that say IVF is okay as long as you don't I'll put it this way, as long as you don't leave embryos extra. That's the most non-medical way I could say it. And then the other way is don't do it at all. It shouldn't be done. It's immoral. So I am a Southern Baptist seminarian. So yes, I am closely tied with the SBC. I go to an SBC church. I'm a SBC seminarian. I'm friends. I'm actually friends with the two leading advocates against IVF. I'm friends with those guys. They're both professors at Southern. So on top of that, we have a beautiful baby boy downstairs right now. He's almost 3, who's an IVF baby. I need to walk through a couple things. This would probably take a whole podcast if I did.
Could be. Yeah.
But
That's all right.
I understand where you're coming from, Tyler, very much. I walked in your shoes. And to be honest, I also understand the sentiment of the SBC. I think IVF can be a dangerous thing. There are a lot of embryos that are left over. I think there's hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. Don't quote me on that, but there's hundreds of thousands, I believe, embryos that have been left over that were conceived but not implanted or transferred, I think is the right word. And what do we do with this? This is a moral dilemma. And we can't be irresponsible with this. When we were going through this ourselves, if I wrote in the book Like a River, I had a really emotional moment with IVF in a discussion with Lincoln, my son. That's in the book Like a River. It's the tree conversation, if you remember. Daddy, does God make all the trees and man make some of the trees? It was that conversation. So if you haven't read Like a River, Tyler, check that out. And then Amber and I decided, we were convicted that we felt like this may be wrong. And so we decided that we would implant every single embryo we had. And as it turned out, all of them died, including a miscarriage, leaving us all the way just down to just one last one. And it ended up being Maverick. Now, that's my story. And that doesn't make IVF right just because I did it. And it also, even if it is wrong, it doesn't make Maverick wrong, because God he always has used sin and for his own glory, for his own good. He's done, there's countless stories about that. So it's never the baby's fault, certainly not Maverick's fault. And Maverick's certainly not an accident but just because Maverick exists and he's beautiful and he's loved and he's purposed and he is in the image of God, just because of all that, there also coexists another idea that maybe Amber and I were wrong in considering IVF. You could tell that I've struggled over the years with it. And if we were going to do it all over again, I don't think we would do IVF. And that's not because, now the SBC is voting against it, et cetera, et cetera. It's not because of that. I just believe as we've been sanctified as Christians more and more, I think it becomes more problematic. Why? Because look at the fruit of IVF clinics. Hey, we get emails from the clinic that Maverick was conceived in. They aren't good emails that we get and what they're promoting.
What are they?
The emails we get from the clinic where Mav came from aren't God-honoring emails. They aren't God-glorifying emails. You get my drift?
Yeah.
What they're promoting and what they're using IVF for and what they're endorsing because they have IVF, what they're saying that they can do, it's not a couple like Tyler from Arkansas saying we've struggled and we go to church and we've been praying and we're trying to conceive a baby. That's not what these clinics are promoting.
Mm-hmm. So should the reform be on, no pun intended, I promise, but is it throwing the baby out with the bathwater to say no IVF at all? Or is it saying the way IVF is done right now is wrong? You said you used all 3 embryos.
Well, we did, and there were 7 more that died.
Yeah.
Before we even got a chance to use them.
Right.
I just think in hindsight, we look back on it and we go, "Hey, I don't think we are quite as sanctified as we are now in this situation. I don't think we would have done it the same." That doesn't make me regret doing it or regret Maverick, of course not. But will I now stand forward and endorse it and actually go against my colleagues in the SBC? I don't think so. I think the men and women that have prayed over this and studied this for a long time, I don't think they're wrong in thinking, hey, we need to hit the brakes on this. We need to think about this because the implications of the future, where's this going? What are the fruits of this? And I'll tell you what the fruits are. I see the emails. I see their Instagram page. and what they're promoting. And it's awful stuff.
Unbelievable. That's why, this could be, probably should be a much longer conversation.
It's a longer conversation
with other people
So-
who have been affected on both sides of it.
I hate to give you the answer, Tyler, that you don't want to hear, but adoption is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Adoption is a
For sure.
beautiful, beautiful thing. And there's so many babies that need a home. And you're saying, Granger, how could you say that? When you did the opposite. Well, maybe Amber and I need to adopt too. We'll leave it there. Next question. Do we have another time for another one right now?
Yeah. 20. Yeah.
Let's hit another one. Try to do
about this. I would hit some comments. Is that cool?
Let's hit the comments.
Okay.
Then we could hit another one after
Yeah,
the break. Yeah,
After the
got it.
break. I've got a couple here. Let's
Like that Yee Apparel mug right there. Look at that.
that.
Brand
This is
new
the-
coffee mug. Just came out today at the launch.
This is the epitome of product placement today. Both of us wearing the same
Mhm.
hat. Okay, here you go. A question from
You guys
last
doing a podcast tour? Yes, we were just talking about, just told Ant-Man right before we started this, I said, hey, once we get enough reps doing this live podcast thing, then we should have all the kinks worked out by the time we actually take a tour and do this.
Hope so.
That's the hope.
This is a good one too.
Chris says, hey, Granger, this is straight from the live right here. I'm reading. Hey, Granger, getting ready to close on a house soon. It'll be my wife and I's first home together. Any advice on two newly married 24-year-olds in life and being first-time home buyers? Congratulations, man.
That's big.
That's big. That's huge. 24 is young, and you've got a lot of life ahead of you. I would say hold it with open hands. Don't hold that house too tightly. Don't worry about that house. Don't make that house your idol. Don't obsess over that house, because bad things are going to happen to it. Like things are going to break, pipes are going to burst. You're going to get, fence is going to get knocked down in a high wind. You're going to get stains on the carpet. I would just say live in it, live with it. And it's not a permanent house. It's not a forever home. And so enjoy it, make the most out of it. And one day, Lord willing, 5, 6, 10 years, you'll be moving in another house because you're going to need some more bedrooms.
That'd be cool. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Cool.
Long time ago when I started GrangerSmith.com, I had no idea that I was actually going to be selling apparel. And then years later, my brothers and I come up with Yee Apparel. It started in 2011, and we were so confused on how to sell things online and how to grow our online store. In fact, we wanted to be creative and we didn't want to be all technical. And that's where we found Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the very beginning, we don't know what to do stage, to, hey, I think we're doing really well stage. It doesn't matter, all in between. Shopify is there to help you. It doesn't matter if you're selling, scented soap or Yee Apparel. Shopify is there with everything you might be able to sell. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever or whatever you're selling, Shopify is the one that's got you covered. They help turn your browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. That's 36% better on average compared to all the other leading commerce platforms. You could also sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Me, Parker, my brother, Tyler, my other brother, we still use Shopify to this day at yee.com. Every purchase you make at yee.com goes through the power of Shopify so that you could have an easy checkout. But it's not just us. So many across the world use Shopify, including 175 countries with millions of entrepreneurs. Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Granger, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Granger right now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Granger. And don't forget, you could always get a hold of me, get a video message from me, from my phone, saying whatever you need me to say in my video to you, to whoever you want it to be. Happy anniversary, happy birthday, whatever that might be. You can go to cameo.com/GrangerSmith, CAMEO, cameo.com/GrangerSmith, and tell me what to say to whoever you want me to say it to, and I'll shoot you a message. Next question comes from Glenn. It says, the Cowboy Church I attend and support has for a long time had 5-minute teachings every Sunday morning on biblical giving. The teaching about giving is more than just about money. It includes biblical teaching of giving one's self first, and that the giving of tithes and offerings is a reflection of giving oneself first. The teaching is then followed by those to come forward and place their offering in a bucket and then prayed over. When I started going to this church, it was already an established part of the service. I am the person asked by the pastor to do this teaching. Nearly everyone does it without question or complaint, but there is one individual who has personally disagreed with the public display of giving tithes and offerings because it might offend or compel someone to come forward in order to remain inconspicuous. And they have made it known to the pastor, but not personally to me. My question is, do you see anything wrong with giving tithes and offerings in a public display of coming forward as opposed to passing the offering plate? I'd love to hear your answer. Sincerely in Christ, Glenn Tate. Glenn, thank you for the question. It's an interesting one. Do I see anything wrong? Let me see. How about Matthew 6:3-4? But when you give, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees you in secret will reward you. There's that. I'd be cautious about this. I'd be cautious really in the tone of this because we're kind of thinking that this one person is crazy.
Mm.
And this one person is actually biblical.
Is the one biblical?
Yeah.
It sounds like.
And we're kind of looking at this one. Look, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with people wanting to get up and give in public, that people are just going to do that. But I think what's wrong is saying that this is the way we do it.
Right.
And if you disagree with it, you're strange.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this email sounds like.
Yeah.
Is that what you feel?
Yeah. Is the hope that because I see someone else, is this what they're thinking? If the rest of the congregation sees this many people they'll be encouraged to give too?
I think that's what they're thinking. Marshall said something when he was on here earlier that I loved a couple weeks ago. He said that him and the elders of the church, they don't even know who gives.
Yeah.
They don't look, and they're not allowed to see the names.
Yeah.
Because you have the danger as a pastor of it creating favoritism.
It does, for sure.
Even if you're as solid as a rock, it's really hard not to think, but this person gives the most of the congregation. Yeah. It's really hard not to give them extra favor or to do what they are suggesting. It's very difficult. So to protect yourself against that, you don't know. And when you have a public display like that and everyone's getting up, the pastor sees it. Everyone sees it. Yeah. So yeah, I would speak against this. I know Cowboy churches do stuff like this. I know that even passing the offering plate is starting to become less and less. At Emmaus, we don't do it. We're not as old school, and so we don't do it at all. It's only online.
How about that? See, we do both, but it's also kind of become tailored. Like they'll come up to the edge of your row and just kind of look and see if anybody, because people will hold it up or whatever, and then they'll pass the plate down, but it doesn't just automatically go by you.
Yeah,
where it used to.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Every church I've ever known has done that. Yeah. And at Emmaus, we have a box in the back.
Yeah.
So if you don't do online banking or whatever, then you could put it in.
You want to throw a 20 in, then.
But I think for that person that throws a 20 in the box without anyone seeing is blessed.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, it's biblical.
Agreed.
So yeah.
Well, back to your point that you were saying that Marshall said, is that I've seen it in action before. Of they'll carefully consider what someone who said something or asked to do something, they'll think of them and consider it differently because they know, man, if we don't do that and they get mad, that's a big chunk of money that leaves our church. That's their thought process. I've seen it happen in action before. Yeah.
So dangerous, man.
Not good.
Next question comes from Jaden. Hey, Granger, first I want to thank you for the virtual meet and greet back in April of 2020. Wow. Anyway, my question is, do I let my girlfriend know that I want to propose without actually telling her? Or do I just not tell her and just do it? That's a very simple question.
How would you like to be proposed to, sweetheart?
Man, Jaden, two parts to that question. One part says, hey, man, you know, you got to make sure that she actually is agreeing that she wants to get married to you. You know?
That's a good conversation for sure.
I mean, that's a conversation where you just say, you tell her in some kind of form, surely you have, hey, one of these days, I want to get married, and I love you, and you're exactly the kind of girl I want to marry. So you're kind of building it up without saying, will you marry me? And you wait for her reaction, because if she says, oh, I didn't know we're going this fast, then there's a problem. And if she goes, me too, you're the kind of guy that I would love to marry, and then you kind of move on, but you just store that away, that, okay, this is good. This is good. You're planting seeds, and you have the conversations about children and about her faith and things like that, things that are unreconcilable once you are married. If you get married and you're expecting 4 kids and she wants none, that's a question and a conversation you probably should have had before you're even engaged. If you have a strong faith and she doesn't at all, that's a conversation you probably should have had, or vice versa, before you even get engaged. If all that's taken care of, then you go to the second part of my answer. And the second part of my answer is, man, I just think surprises are better.
Yeah, but I don't think that I've ever met a girl that I had that, and not necessarily a girl I was dating, but just a girl in general that was dating someone that didn't make their intentions known before the guy did.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting married, right? You know, almost that bluntly.
Absolutely.
You know, here's what I would wear. Here's the house that I would want. Here's how many kids. I mean, that seems to always have been up front in most relationships.
Yeah.
So if you're not having that conversation, that might be the first thing.
And once you're there, then I think a surprise is good.
Bingo.
Surprise her.
Absolutely.
Do something neat.
Yeah.
Not something, also, here's a tip, I think. Not something you think is a great proposal, but something she would think is a great proposal. Like if you love football and she doesn't, don't propose at the halftime of your favorite football game.
Yes.
On the Jumbotron, you know?
Agreed.
If she loves football, okay, cool. If she loves, you know, the beach, take her to the beach and do it there, even though you don't like it. It's about her, you know, do what you think would be great for her.
Just be careful not to drop the ring in the sand.
Don't drop the ring in the sand, y'all.
Got some questions here on comments.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's hit it.
Here's one.
Lindsay says, hi, when is your new song coming out? And are you going to release it? I love the new intro. I don't know, Lindsay. Thanks for asking.
Explain what she's talking about.
So the Smiths, our family vlog, I have a new song that came out in the intro, the brand new intro of the Smiths. And so just live with it, Lindsay. You might not even like it after you listen to it enough times. You might not even want the full version. But if you do, I'll think about how to release it. Mason says, how are we going to buy Yee Yee today? I wasn't going to buy Yee Yee today, but watching y'all in the new gear is making me rethink that. Maybe I'll just rewind and listen to the part about saving money. Yeah, maybe so, Mason.
I didn't know this. Did you see that?
No, Stephanie said, all the mugs are amazing. I definitely want the insulated mugs. They work so great. Yeah.
There's one that said that mug is already sold out.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I haven't been paying attention.
That's a good one. Great one.
Emily says, thank you for always being real, honest, and a brother in Christ. Thank you, Emily.
And then you talked about this one on the last live that we did about a month ago.
Will the live album and DVD be coming soon? So, Adam, it is officially finished. The live, almost a few last tweaks, copyright stuff. For instance, America started with a beat from the movie Top Gun.
That's right.
Found out we had to take that out.
Oh,
so little things like that.
No.
But yes, the live album is finished. I'm very happy with it. It's going to release probably in the fall, and the documentary to go with it is not finished, but it's a work in progress, and we plan on packaging both of those together. Okay. Cool. Want to go back to the question here?
Yeah.
Back to the email, podcast@grangersmith.com. If you want to hit me up. And the question from Cody says, hi, Granger. I recently met a guy who is so bright and caring and giving. We met riding motorcycles and have rode together almost every day since. He caught feelings for me, and it wasn't It was already breaking my heart to tell him that I don't like him too. But now everything is caving in on him. And I don't know how to love him without hurting him more by giving him hope of a relationship. His family is messy, sister in prison, 2 autistic brothers, threatening grandpa, irresponsible parents, an uncle who died in a motorcycle crash right after we met, an injured aunt from the same crash, and an uncle who raped his niece. He's 25 and taking custody of his niece to protect her, and he has already held custody of his nephew since he was 18. He beat thyroid cancer 2 years ago, and he's coming back right now just as strong. He's in pain. He's weak. He's depressed. He's selling all of his bikes that we have been, and which have been his only outlet and escape from everything he's got going on. He's acting like he's giving up. He met me 3 weeks ago, and he wants to give me his favorite bike, and I can't even like him back. 3 of his biker friends crashed this week alone, and he is there for every single one of them, though he is suffering. He is trying to go to church and have faith, even though he hasn't for a few years. I know sin is why there is suffering, but God didn't cause it. But he can't stop it, God? Why are there people like me who have such an easy life when he is going through hell every day? I am undeserving and bitter, but get to be healthy and okay when he is loving and in so much pain. How is that fair? Okay, what an email, Cody. Okay.
Deep.
That's deep. There's 2 different answers that come right to my mind right away. One, you're not responsible for this guy. You've known him for 3 weeks. You're not responsible for his happiness. There's nothing you could do to make him happy, and there's no decision you could make. There's no agreements that you can make to make him. You're not responsible for his happiness. I'm not responsible for Amber's happiness. You're not responsible for Ashley's happiness, Ant-Man. This is a misconception that we as humans are responsible for other people's happiness. And you are saying that about this guy that you just met 3 weeks ago who's got his life is falling apart. That doesn't mean you can't love him and encourage him and be there for him and be a friend and listen to him and share time with him. It doesn't mean all that. It just means that you can't be responsible for his happiness, especially if you don't like him in a romantic way, so that you might violate that just to make him happy. That's wrong. That's the first part of my answer. My second part says, where I want to go. I want to go to this part that says, I know that sin is why he's suffering and God didn't cause it, but can't he stop it? And then my mind goes, okay, Isaiah 45 might disagree with you, Cody. It says, Isaiah 45, 6 and 7 says, I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things. That is much different than a God who says, I didn't cause it, and I don't know if I could stop it. In fact, that's not a God at all.
Not a very big one, anyway.
that's an idol God.
Yes.
Lowercase g,
Okay, yes.
that we have created for our own comfort. So that we could be comfortable in our little lives, knowing that we are stuck in our lives, and it's definitely not fair. It's not my fault, and it's not fair. That's what we want to say all the time.
Yeah.
And to that is always the gospel, is always the cross of Christ, glaring back at this unfairness that says all of us have sinned. None of us are good. No, not one. All of us have rejected God and the world that was made, that was good. And in our rebellion, in our sin, he made a way to reconcile us, to forgive us of our sins. And it's not by anything we could do. Instead, it's with his son that he sent to die for us, to be the substitute, to be the replacement for the punishment that we deserved. Christ takes that on himself in his body on the cross and says, whoever looks at me and believes in this final sacrifice, this ultimate sacrifice, you will be forgiven, not in anything you've done, but in what have I've done. That's where fairness comes from.
Yes.
That's where the judgment is satisfied. And then you go, how's that fair? Is Christ dying on the cross? Is the man, the God man, the perfect one, sent sinless without flaw, without fault, that lives the perfect life, and he goes and we murder him. Is that fair? That's where this all gets mixed up here. So, Cody, I think that's all I have to say. What do you got, Ant?
Got a few more comments from the live. Love doing this and love seeing your comments in the moment too, and love those. So back to the last email. We got a comment here. So
Janice says, I so love your broadcast as my guy introduced you to me. We are happy, and I could see him as my future as well. We listen to you together. Blessings to you always and your family. Peace and love. Thank you so much, Janice. Rachel says, are you still coming to Raleigh to preach next month? Yeah, I haven't canceled it. Yeah, I'm coming.
Hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
Anna says, good morning and happy Friday to everyone from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Thank you, Anna, so much. I know you listen quite a bit, so it's always an honor to have you.
Here's a question for you. So,
and she says, I'm 42 and I want to know
same
your
one.
advice from about meeting godly men. Well, Anna says, what's your advice about meeting godly men? And let me reframe the question. Granger, what's your advice in catching largemouth bass? I would say go to a good pond.
That's right.
With some low-hanging brush, that has plenty of bait fish.
Yeah.
Go during spawning season. That's where you're going to find the biggest ones, and know what to throw. And so for you want to know what kind of lure. A godly man is going to want a godly woman. Yeah. So be a godly woman. Be the kind of woman that a godly man would be attracted to.
There you go.
That's a great goal. And then you got to go to the pond. And so I would go to a good, solid Bible teaching church. That's where you're going to find godly men. And that's when you're going to throw a godly lure. And that is with a godly woman.
Well, I was going to say the only difference is you're the lure, but you have to be real and you can't be fake.
Oh yeah. You got to be a live minnow.
Exactly. So does that help you at all? We've equated
that helps, Anna.
Dating to fishing. That's what you get on the Granger Smith podcast.
It's either dating to fishing, or it's either fishing or football are the two analogies I go to all the time.
Got time for you want to do one more email?
Yep. I only have 2 left. So yeah, one more would be good.
Okay. Kristen
says, hello from Orlando. Women as pastors. Wow. We're just hitting them all, aren't we? You did this to me, Ant-Man. You're over there laughing. Women as pastors seem to be a controversy with churches. I don't understand why, as the Bible is very clear. I do not attend my church because of this. Comments, thank you, and blessings, Kristen. Hey, Kristen, I agree with you. I believe the Bible is very clear that the biblical leadership in a church is for men. I am a complementarian, meaning that men and women have both of us, very important and very distinct roles that we need to carry out in the church. And when those distinct roles are blurred, trouble begins in the church. I think we see this. I think there's no doubt that we see the result of either way. I'm not an egalitarian, meaning men and women are equal in every way. And that's not my opinion. Like, we have to get that clear too. That's not just what my heart says or my gut says or what I want to be. That's what the Bible says. Yeah. And so I believe it. And then I see the fruit from it acted out correctly. And I go, oh, wow, women are so much better when they're following the biblical standard. Men are so much better when they're following the biblical standard. Kids are so much better when they're following the biblical standard. The marriages are so much better when they're following the biblical standard. Grief is so much more hopeful when following the biblical standard. I could just go on and on and on, but all the attributes and characteristics and identities of people and our feelings and our emotions are just better when carried out according to the biblical standard. And so I don't want to break apart from that, because it hurts if we do. It doesn't work right. And it creates struggle and strife. And so, yes. And so, Kristen, the one thing I want to say in your email that I don't like about your email is that you said, I do not attend my church because of this. I would say, then it's not your church.
Yeah.
Find you one.
Yep.
There's so many. In fact, in Orlando, my buddy Caleb Brasher has a great church there called The Grove. And please, I'm going to look it up right now. But if I was in Orlando, I would definitely go to the Grove. I'm looking them up right now. It is in Claremont. So I'll give you the address. It's 460 West Montrose Street, Claremont, Florida, 34715. The pastor is Caleb Brasher. It's called the Grove, and it's just it's a great complementarian church.
You have that question a lot about, where do I find a great church? And you've talked about it before, of who they can email. Do you mind dropping that again?
Yeah. We could still, I haven't done it in a little bit, but it's takeandreadpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
Takeandreadpodcast@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Pastor Chad. Hopefully he can help you with that.
Yeah.
So what are we doing on time? We good?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we love you. And I'm so glad you're tuning in now with me live. And I'm so glad you're listening later when you see this released on Monday. But I sure appreciate y'all. And you just make things, your questions just make me so encouraged. So love you guys. See you next Monday.